Is The Witcher really that bad, and does it deserve all the hate that it gets? Or is it just the fashionable thing to bash it on the internet? I'm Troy from Marks on TV, and today I'm giving my honest opinion on the overall quality of The Witcher. And yes, I'm somewhat defending the show rather than bashing on it. Now, on with the story. Fair warning, this is a spoiler alert to all of you who haven't watched Seasons 1 and 2 of The Witcher, as well as The Witcher Blood Origin.
Spoiler alert!
To start off, I 100% understand and respect people who read the Witcher books and played the Witcher games, and they're upset that the Netflix show doesn't follow the source material closely. I've been there, seen my Rings of Power videos. Also, if you're a purist about certain things in fantasy, I get that as well. However, when people try to say that this show isn't entertaining and isn't fun to watch, I can't take that seriously. Season 1 was a little confusing at times. It took me a few episodes to really understand what they were doing. My wife was super thrown off at first, so since I watched it before her, I kinda laid out what was going on. It was definitely an interesting way of telling a story. Some people have said that they think that that was used as a cover-up to the bad story. I don't know about that at all. I thought that the story was pretty well done, actually. Season 2 was definitely a lot more linear in its storytelling. I didn't like the storyline so much of Yennefer losing her powers for most of the season. It was interesting for a couple of episodes, but then it was like, whatever. I still stayed interested all the way through, however, right up until the end. A big complaint by fans was that we saw less of Geralt and more of Yennefer. I don't necessarily agree with that because Season 1 had about a 50-50 balance between Geralt and Yennefer. I didn't mind having that split between the two main protagonists, but some people really disliked it. Another complaint I was seeing from people online was that there weren't enough butts and boobs in Season 2. We only had like one episode where there was a nudity scene. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm an adult and not watching fantasy for nudity. It really didn't bother me, or take anything away from the show. It didn't add anything to the show. It was just kinda not there anymore, and I didn't mind at all. Getting back to the supposed issues with Yennefer, I haven't read a whole lot of the books, but I guess that they don't really follow Yennefer that much in them. So yeah, this was a deviation from the source material, or so I've been told, but I think it's adding more weight to Yennefer's character and giving us reasons to give a damn about her. You could make the argument that the actress's attire is very different from the games and the descriptions in the books to the show, but I thought that the dresses kind of fit. They didn't make her as physical as they did in the games and the books. It would have certainly been cool to see the outfits that we know from the games on actress Anya Shalatra, but in the setting that they were in and things that she was doing, I don't know if the game attire would have fit quite as well. On the flip side, I like Geralt's look in the show far better than his look in the game. In the game, he wore more washed out browns and grays, and some of his armor looked kind of meh. But in the show, he wore black and was a bit bulkier, but it worked. Since I go to a lot of Comic-Cons, I'm planning on cosplaying as Geralt from the show somewhere down the line. I could be the Geralt from the games and the books, but I just enjoy the black armor more. So I guess that just all comes down to a personal preference. As far as people who complain about Ciri, I'm not really sure what's wrong with her character. She seems fairly close to her book and video game counterparts. She looks like how she's described in the books and close enough to how she looks in the games. And unlike most young female protagonists of the modern era, she doesn't bulldoze the older male characters and make them look stupid or insignificant. Also, to anyone complaining that she's the chosen one key to everything, isn't that pretty much how she was in the books and games? That's like the whole point of her character, right? Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, and oh, I am waiting for it in the comments. As I mentioned earlier, I've only read bits and pieces of the books, and the only Witcher game that I've played is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and with that game, I'm only about 5 to 6 hours in. Got a long way to go. So as far as the source material, I'm not highly in tune with it. That means that what the show differs from with the source material, I won't have any clue. I just know that I have enjoyed the show and it hasn't offended my intelligence in any way so far. I will say that I would rather see more Monster of the Week type stuff with Geralt. You had that more so in Season 1 than in Season 2. My favorite show of all time, Supernatural, did something similar. After Season 2, they pretty much stopped with the Monster of the Week stuff, but that's honestly my favorite part. I realize there are bigger, overarching stories to be told, but hunting and killing monsters is kind of Geralt's whole thing. Now, I've been informed that the explanation of the history of the Witcher world in the show is not how it is in the source material, which is pretty stupid in my opinion. However, I do think that some of the ideas came up with for the collision of the spheres in the show were pretty interesting. I'm not sure how close that is to the books or the games, but I will say that when it comes to The Witcher Blood Origin, that show sucked a hard one. I didn't like one single character from that show or give a damn about him. A lot of the show didn't make sense. I felt like big parts of the story were left out or just glossed over, and it all felt kind of rushed. But then again, if they had dragged it out longer, I may have hated it more. I watched it just to see if it really was as bad as people said it was, and by God, it definitely was. It deserved all the hate it got. But as far as seasons 1 and 2 of the actual Witcher show, I don't think that it was anywhere near as bad as some popular YouTube reviewers or even YouTube comment sections claim that they are. This is just part 1 of 2 of my new series on The Witcher, so keep an eye out for part 2 dropping next week. That will be all about the upcoming Season 3. Please comment down below with what you thought of The Witcher Seasons 1 and 2. Did you like or dislike them? Do you like the cast at least? What do you think of Henry Cavill's departure from the show? Are you excited for the upcoming Season 3? Will you watch past Season 3 if there happens to be a Season 4? On top of that, I'd like to know how many of you have actually played the games and read the books. I'm not deep into the lore of The Witcher, as I said, so I seriously do want commenters to fill me in on what I don't know. Sure, I can always look it up on Wikipedia, but I want to hear from you, the people. Also, please share this video around to everyone you know, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click that little bell to be notified every time we post brand new content. I'm Troy from Marks on TV, and we'll see you next time.